The elevator of Destinalina Rodriguez stood in the marble lobby of the towering Global Tech Solutions building, her reflection multiplied in the polished surfaces around her. At 38, she had built her technology empire from nothing, transforming a small startup into a multinational corporation worth over $2 billion. Tonight, however, her usual confidence wavered as she clutched the leather portfolio, containing contracts that could either secure her company's future or destroy everything she had worked for. The elevator climbed silently toward the 40th floor, each passing number bringing her closer to the most important meeting of her career. Alina had spent 3 years cultivating a relationship with Tanaka Industries, Japan's leading technology manufacturer. The partnership would revolutionize their smart home technology division and establish Global Tech Solutions as the dominant force in the Asian market. A woman who had everything except Levelena's penthouse office reflected her success, but also her isolation. Awards lined the walls, but no personal photographs smiled back at her. She had sacrificed everything for her company, including marriage, children, and meaningful relationships. Her days began before dawn and ended well past midnight, leaving no room for the human connections that most people cherished. Her assistant Jessica knocked softly before entering. "Alina, the Tanaka delegation has arrived early. They're in conference room A, but we have a serious problem." Alina's stomach tightened. "What kind of problem, Jessica?" "Robert Martinez, our Japanese interpreter, was rushed to the hospital an hour ago with a severe allergic reaction. He's in intensive care and completely unable to work tonight." The words hit Alina like a physical blow. Mr. Tanaka and his team spoke minimal English, preferring to conduct all serious business negotiations in Japanese. Without proper translation, months of preparation would crumble in minutes. "Have you contacted every translation service in the city?" Alina asked, her voice remaining steady despite the panic rising in her chest. Jessica nodded grimly. "It's the start of the holiday weekend. Every qualified Japanese interpreter is either booked or unreachable. I've offered triple rates, but nobody is available on such short notice." Alina closed her eyes, feeling the weight of 4,000 employees whose jobs depended on this deal. Her company's stock price, their expansion plans, her own reputation as a business leader. Everything hung in the balance because of one missing translator. The invisible man in plain sight 40 floors below. David Kim pushed his cleaning cart down the brightly lit hallway, humming a gentle melody under his breath. At 35, his weathered hands and kind eyes told the story of a man who had learned to find dignity in honest work, no matter how others perceived it. David had been working the night shift at Global Tech Solutions for nearly a year, invisible to most employees but grateful for the steady income that supported his greatest treasure, his 8-year-old daughter, Sophie. The framed photograph tucked into his cleaning supplies showed a bright-eyed girl with pigtails and a gap-toothed smile that could light up any room. Every squeaky wheel of his cart, every floor he mopped, every trash bin he emptied, brought him closer to his dream of providing Sophie with the education and opportunities he never had. David had arrived in America 5 years ago after his wife died in a car accident in Seoul, carrying nothing but hope and determination to build a better life for his daughter. What nobody at Global Tech Solutions knew was that David held a doctorate in international business and linguistics from Seoul National University. He spoke 6 languages fluently: Korean, English, Japanese, Mandarin, Spanish, and French. But without proper work authorization and American credentials, his degrees meant nothing in the corporate world. The meeting that would change everything. David paused outside conference room A, immediately sensing the tension radiating from the group of well-dressed Japanese businessmen inside. He recognized Mr. Tanaka from previous visits, a distinguished man who always treated David with polite respect. Unlike many executives who looked through him as if he didn't exist, through the glass walls, David could see Mr. Tanaka checking his expensive watch repeatedly, his expression growing more frustrated by the minute. The businessman was speaking rapidly in Japanese to his colleagues, and David understood every word. "We have waited long enough," Mr. Tanaka was saying. "If Global Tech Solutions cannot provide basic professional courtesy, perhaps our time would be better spent with their competitors." This lack of preparation suggests they are not serious about international business. David's hand stilled on his mop handle as he absorbed the gravity of the situation. Down the hallway, he spotted Alina Rodriguez pacing near the elevators, her usual composure cracked with barely contained desperation. He had observed her from a distance many times, admiring her intelligence and the way she occasionally acknowledged his presence with a genuine smile. A father's wisdom, David remembered his father's words from long ago. Son, sometimes staying silent when you have the power to help is the greatest tragedy of all. He thought about Sophie, asleep in their small apartment, dreaming of becoming a veterinarian someday. He thought about all the opportunities that had been denied to him because of circumstances beyond his control, but this was different. This was a moment where his hidden abilities could make a real difference, where staying invisible might mean watching others fail when he had the power to help them succeed. David looked at Sophie's photograph one more time, then made a decision. That would transform not just his own life, but the lives of everyone in that conference room. The moment of truth. Lene entered conference room A with Jessica beside her. Her smile strained as she attempted to apologize for the delay. Mr. Tanaka's expression had shifted from patience to clear displeasure, and his colleagues were already gathering their papers. Mr. Tanaka, Alina began, her voice betraying a slight tremor. I sincerely apologize for the delay. We've encountered an unexpected situation with our interpreter, but we're working to resolve it immediately. Mr. Tanaka responded in rapid Japanese, his tone formal but clearly dismissive. Alina caught the finality in his voice even without understanding the words. 3 years of relationship building, countless hours of preparation, and her company's future were walking out the door. Excuse me, Ms. Rodriguez. Alina turned to find David standing quietly in the doorway, his work clothes neat but humble, his cleaning cart parked respectfully in the hallway. His eyes held an unexpected confidence that seemed completely at odds with his position. David, not now, Jessica whispered urgently. We're in the middle of a critical meeting. But David stepped forward, his presence somehow commanding attention. Despite his janitor's uniform, Ms. Rodriguez, I believe I can help with your translation problem. The words hung in the air like a lifeline thrown to a drowning person. Alina stared at him, certain she had misunderstood. Around the conference table, Mr. Tanaka and his team paused their packing, intrigued by this unexpected interruption. Can help how? Alina asked, her voice barely above a whisper. David looked directly at Mr. Tanaka and spoke in perfect, formal Japanese. Honorable Mr. Tanaka. Please forgive the confusion and delay. Ms. Rodriguez has the deepest respect for you and your distinguished company. She is prepared to discuss terms that will benefit both our organizations significantly if you would be so gracious as to give us this opportunity. Mr. Tanaka's eyebrows rose in genuine surprise. He responded in Japanese, his tone shifting from annoyance to curiosity. David listened carefully, then turned to Alina with a slight smile. Mr. Tanaka says he's impressed that Global Tech Solutions employs people with diverse talents in unexpected places. He's willing to give you 30 minutes to present your proposal, but only if I serve as the translator for this meeting. Alina felt her legs go weak with relief and disbelief. She looked at David, really looked at him for the first time. Behind his humble exterior, she glimpsed intelligence, education, and something that resembled quiet nobility. David, she said, carefully, can you really handle complex business translation? This contract involves highly technical terms and cultural nuances that could make or break this deal. David's smile was gentle but confident. Ms. Rodriguez, I have a doctorate in international business from Seoul National University. I've spent years studying cross-cultural communication and translation. More importantly, I understand that business is ultimately about people connecting with people, regardless of the language they speak. The revelation hit Alina like lightning. Here was a man with extraordinary qualifications working as a janitor, invisible to everyone who might have recognized his true potential. She realized that sometimes the most valuable resources are hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to see beyond surface appearances. Gentlemen, Alina said, turning to face the Japanese delegation with renewed confidence. Let's discuss how we can build something remarkable together. Mr. Tanaka settled back into his chair, his stern expression replaced by genuine interest. In this unexpected turn of events, David took his position beside Alina, transforming from invisible maintenance worker to the bridge between two cultures. As the meeting began, Alina couldn't help but steal glances at the man who had just saved her empire, wondering what other surprises lay hidden beneath his humble exterior and feeling the first stirrings of something she hadn't experienced in years, genuine curiosity about another human being. The negotiation was about to begin. But Alina sensed that something much more significant than a business deal was unfolding in that conference room, something that would change the trajectory of her carefully controlled life in ways she couldn't yet imagine. The bridge. Between worlds, the next hour unfolded like a carefully choreographed dance between cultures. David translated with a precision and elegance that left both sides amazed, but more than that, he seemed to understand the deeper meanings behind every word. Every pause, every gesture that could make the difference between a simple contract and a true partnership. Rodriguez wishes to emphasize that this collaboration represents more than financial gain, David explained to Mr. Tanaka in flawless Japanese. She sees it as building a bridge between two innovative cultures, creating opportunities for mutual growth and technological advancement that will benefit consumers worldwide. Mr. Tanaka's eyes lit up as he absorbed the translation. He responded enthusiastically, gesturing toward the technical specifications spread across the mahogany table. Mr. Tanaka says that in Japanese business philosophy, the greatest partnerships are built on mutual respect and shared vision for the future, David told Alina. He's impressed by your company's commitment to quality innovation and your personal dedication to understanding Japanese business values. Alina found herself captivated not just by David's linguistic abilities, but by the way he seemed to intuitively understand both cultures, anticipated questions, clarified complex technical terms, and even offered cultural context that helped both sides avoid potential misunderstandings. The timeline concerns them, David explained privately to Alina during a brief pause. In Japanese business culture, rushing suggests lack of proper planning. If you can emphasize the thorough preparation and quality control measures that went into these schedules, it will address their underlying concerns. Alina nodded, adjusting her presentation accordingly, as she spoke about global tech solutions, meticulous approach to product development. David's translation carried not just her words, but her passion, her conviction, her absolute commitment to excellence, discovering the man behind the uniform during a break in negotiations. Alina found herself alone with David while the Japanese delegation stepped out for a private discussion. David, she said softly, I have to ask, how does someone with a doctorate from Seoul National University end up working as a night janitor? David's expression grew thoughtful, a shadow of old pain crossing his features.
Nice.
Life doesn't always follow the path we plan, Ms. Rodriguez. After my wife died, I brought Sophie to America, hoping for better opportunities. But degrees from foreign universities don't open doors here without proper connections or work authorization. Lena felt a pang of recognition. She understood the weight of sacrifice, though her struggles had been different. What was your field of study? International business and cultural linguistics? I specialized in how language shapes business relationships across cultures. I even published research on the role of translation in successful international partnerships. David's voice carried a trace of the pride he had once known. But here I'm just David the janitor, and that's been enough as long as I could provide for Sophie. Alina studied this remarkable man who had been invisible in her own building for nearly a year. Sophie is your daughter? David's entire demeanor softened, his love for his child evident in every line of his face. She's 8 years old, brilliant, and dreams of becoming a veterinarian. Everything I do is for her future. And her mother, Lena asked gently. Cancer, David said simply. She died when Sophie was 3. It's been just the two of us ever since. Lena felt something crack open in her chest. Here was a man who had lost everything but continued fighting for his daughter's dreams, working jobs far beneath his qualifications while maintaining his dignity and kindness. The deal that changed everything when negotiations resumed. The Japanese delegation had reached their decision. Mr. Tanaka spoke formally in Japanese, his words carrying the weight of a life-changing announcement. David listened carefully, then turned to Alina with barely contained excitement. Ms. Rodriguez, Tanaka Industries wants to move forward with the partnership. But more than that, they're so impressed with your company's cultural sensitivity that they want to expand the original proposal. Elena's heart raced. Expanded how? They're offering a 5-year exclusive partnership for all Asian markets, worth potentially $300 million over the contract period. Mr. Tanaka says the way this meeting was handled, especially how you found a solution to the translation crisis, demonstrates the kind of innovative thinking they want in a long-term partner. The room seemed to spin around Elena. This wasn't just the deal she had hoped for. It was beyond her wildest projections. Mr. Tanaka stood and spoke directly to David in Japanese, his tone warm and respectful. "What did he say?" Elena asked. David looked almost embarrassed. "He said that any company wise enough to recognize and utilize hidden talent deserves their trust. He specifically requested that I handle all future communications between our companies." Elena stared at David, realizing that this man had not only saved her company, but elevated it to heights she hadn't dared imagine. "They requested you specifically, Mr. Tanaka believes that business is ultimately about people understanding people. He wants someone who truly grasps both cultures involved in this partnership." A moment of recognition as the contracts were signed and the Japanese delegation prepared. To leave, Mr. Tanaka approached Elena and David together. "Ms. Rodriguez," he said in careful English, "your translator is a very special person. You are fortunate to have such talent in your company." After the delegation departed, Elena and David stood alone in the conference room, the signed contracts on the table between them, representing not just a business triumph, but a moment that had revealed truths about both of them. "David," Elena said, her voice thick with emotion, "you saved my company tonight. That deal represents everything I've worked for over the past 15 years. David shook his head modestly. "Ms. Rodriguez, you built something worth saving. I just helped remove a language barrier." "No," Elena said firmly, "you did much more than that. You showed me that I've been blind to the talent and potential right under my nose. You demonstrated grace under pressure, cultural wisdom, and the kind of character that can't be taught." She paused, looking directly into his kind eyes. "David, I want to offer you a position as Director of International Relations, full benefits, competitive salary, and most importantly, a chance to use all those abilities you've been hiding." David's eyes widened in shock. "Ms. Rodriguez, I don't know what to say." "Say yes," Elena replied, surprised by the emotion in her own voice. "Why, yes, and help me build something even greater than what we accomplished tonight. The beginning of something beautiful 2 weeks later." David sat in his new corner office on the 39th floor, still marveling at the transformation his life had undergone. The mahogany desk, the view of the city's skyline, the respect in colleagues. Voices when they addressed him as Director Kim, it all felt surreal, yet somehow right. But the most significant change wasn't professional. Elena had begun joining him for coffee breaks, asking about Sophie, sharing stories about her own journey as an entrepreneur. Their conversations flowed easily from business strategies to personal dreams, creating a connection that surprised them both. "How is Sophie adjusting to the changes?" Elena asked during one of their evening meetings. "She's excited about the new school, the better neighborhood. But mostly she's happy because Papa is happy," David smiled. "She's a wise little girl. She notices everything." Elena felt a warmth spread through her chest. "I'd love to meet her properly someday." "She's been asking about the nice lady who gave Papa his important job," David admitted. "Sophie has very good instincts about people." Their eyes met across the conference table, and Elena felt something she hadn't experienced in years. Flutter of genuine attraction mixed with deep respect and growing affection. 3 months later, a new world Elena's life had transformed in ways she never expected. The success of the Tanaka partnership had positioned Global Tech Solutions as a major player in international markets. But more importantly, working alongside, David had awakened feelings she thought she'd buried forever beneath spreadsheets and board meetings. David's expertise had proven invaluable beyond translation. His cultural insights had opened doors to partnerships in Korea, China, and several Southeast Asian countries. But watching him work, seeing his intelligence and integrity in action daily, had stirred something deeper in Elena's carefully guarded heart. The Seoul Electronics proposal is ready for your review, David said, entering Elena's office with a stack of documents. 3 months in his new role had given him confidence, but he still moved with the same quiet dignity that had first caught her attention. David, sit down, Elena said, gesturing to the comfortable chairs by her window rather than the formal desk setup. I want to talk about something beyond business. David settled into the chair, noting the soft evening light that made Elena's features seem warmer, more approachable than her usual corporate image projected. The company Christmas party is next week, Elena began, uncharacteristically nervous. It's always been just another corporate obligation for me, but this year feels different. I was wondering if you and Sophie would consider attending as my guests. David's heart skipped. He had been fighting his growing feelings for Elena, convinced that the differences in their backgrounds and positions made any personal relationship impossible. Elena, he said, using her first name naturally for the first time. Are you sure that's appropriate? People will talk. Elena leaned forward, her professional mask slipping to reveal vulnerability. David, these past months working with you have been the happiest I've experienced in years. I care about you, about Sophie, about the family you've created. I don't want to hide behind corporate protocols anymore. Sophie's wisdom, the evening of the Christmas party. David stood nervously adjusting his tie in the mirror of their new apartment. Sophie, dressed in a beautiful red velvet dress, watched him with 8-year-old perceptiveness. Papa, are you nervous because you like Ms. Elena? She asked directly. David knelt to Sophie's level, amazed as always by his daughter's insight. Would that make you happy, sweetheart? Sophie considered this seriously.
Oh.
Miss Elena makes you smile, the way Mama used to. She sent me that beautiful book about animals, and she remembers that I want to be a veterinarian. I think she would be good for our family. David hugged his daughter. Realizing that children often see truth more clearly than adults, the party that changed everything, the Global Tech Solutions Christmas party, was elegant and festive, but Elena found herself watching the entrance anxiously until David and Sophie arrived. Sophie looked adorable in her red dress, her eyes wide with wonder at the decorated ballroom. Ms. Elena. Sophie ran to her with uninhibited joy. Papa says this is where you work every day. It's like a palace. Elena knelt to hug Sophie, feeling her heart expand. Sophie, you look absolutely beautiful. Would you like me to show you around? As the evening progressed, Elena delighted in introducing Sophie to colleagues, watching the little girl charm everyone with her intelligence and curiosity. David stood nearby, proud of his daughter but also amazed by Elena's natural warmth with, Children, your daughter is remarkable, Elena's assistant Jessica commented. And David seems like a wonderful father. Elena watched David patiently explaining something to Sophie, his love for his daughter evident in every gesture. They're both pretty wonderful, she admitted, the moment of truth later. As the party wound down, Elena, David, and Sophie found themselves on the building's rooftop garden, looking out at the city lights below. Papa, can I tell Ms. Elena something? Sophie asked. David nodded, curious about what his daughter was planning. Sophie looked seriously at Elena. Ms. Elena, Papa likes you very much, but he's afraid you're too important to like us back. Elena's breath caught, touched by the child's honesty and insight. Sophie, what do you think? I think important people need families too, Sophie said, with 8-year-old wisdom, and I think you need us as much as we need you. Elena looked at David, seeing hope and vulnerability in his expression. Sophie's right, she said softly. I've spent so many years building my career that I forgot. To build a life, you and Sophie have shown me what I've been missing. David stepped closer, taking Elena's hand. Elena, I've been afraid to hope for this. It's a difference in our positions, our backgrounds. None of that matters, Elena interrupted. What matters is how I feel when I'm with you, how Sophie lights up my world, how you've made me remember what it means to be human, not just a CEO. As the city sparkled below them, David leaned down and kissed Elena gently, while Sophie clapped her hands in delight. 6 months later, a perfect ending, the wedding was small and perfect. Held in the same rooftop garden where Elena and David had shared their first kiss. Sophie served as the flower girl, beaming as she watched her father marry the woman who had become like a mother to her. Mr. Tanaka had flown in from Japan for the ceremony, along with representatives from several other international partners, who had become genuine friends. The guest list included everyone from board members to maintenance staff, reflecting Alina and David's belief that true success meant bringing people together rather than creating divisions. I've never seen a love story that began with such humble circumstances and grew into something so beautiful, Mr. Tanaka said during his toast. David and Alina have proven that the greatest partnerships in business and in life are built on respect, understanding, and the courage to see potential where others see only limitations. As Alina and David danced to their wedding song, Sophie ran to join them, creating a family circle that felt perfect and complete. "So what's next for the Kim family?" Alina asked, having taken David's surname with pride. David spun Sophie around, then pulled Alina closer. "Next, we continue building our empire, the business empire, the family empire, and all the dreams we're brave enough to pursue together." Alina looked around at their wedding guests, at the successful company they were growing together, at the daughter who had welcomed her with open arms, and at the man who had shown her that love was the greatest business partnership of all. "I love you both so much," she whispered. "We love you too, Mama Alina," Sophie said, using the name she had chosen for her new mother, as fireworks lit up the sky over the city where a janitor had become a director, where a CEO had found her heart, and where a little girl had gained the mother she had always dreamed of. Kim family knew that their greatest adventures were still ahead of them. Their love story had begun with a crisis and a leap of faith, but it would continue with the kind of happiness that comes from building something beautiful together. One day, one dream, one shared moment at a time. The end.